Selection of shoes that I've dug out of my quite extensive shoe cabinet that show a progression of where we can go from absolute minimalist to something a lot more structured. A lot of these are actually Innovate shoes, and Innovate actually do a system where they have arrows on the back of the heel that go from zero, which is zero cushioning, zero differential, zero support, right through to 4 arrow, which is their most structured shoe. Starting at this end, this is Innovate's Rocklight 390 GCX, which is actually initially marketed as a paragliding boot. I've got these because I actually wore them for a 120-mile ultra in the Canadian Arctic, and I wanted that thick 4 arrow cushioning. I actually wanted it for insulation, but you know, 4 arrow cushioning, you can see big chunk of rubber there, big differential between the toe and the heel. So that's the most engineered shoe that they offer. Next one down the line, we've got the Rocklight 315, which is a 3 arrow shoe. Really popular trail shoe. I used to running these an awful lot when I was running hard pack trails. I now find them to be, for me, a bit too stiff and cushioned and engineered, but you know, they're a good, solid, do-it-all, all-rounder shoe. This is a new venture for Innovate. This is actually one of their road shoes. It's the 233, and this is a 2 arrow shoe with replacement transition triathlon laces in. Again, it's getting more flexible. There's getting less differential, less cushioning, and I actually use these as a race shoe on the road. Next up, we've got 1 arrow. This is the F-Light 195, which is parkour free running shoe or hard pack mounting shoe. This actual particular pair I did a 40-mile race in the Froden Chalps straight out of the box in, and they were absolutely perfect for that. Again, we're getting really nice and flexible now, very little differential, so you can see how we're getting more and more minimalist and stripped down. I think this is probably one of the most interesting shoes we've actually got here, and we'll talk about this one a bit more later. This is the Bear Grip 200, which is their zero shoe. So zero cushioning, zero differential, no midsole. So it's totally flexible. It's as near as you can get to having a Barefoot with studs on the bottom. Now we're getting super minimum and stripped down. This is the infamous, or famous, whichever way you're looking at it, Vibram 5-finger. You always get some strange looks when you wear these. My wife said I look like a tree frog. You know, and they let you run barefoot or as near to barefoot safely and on more varied terrain. I've run in the hills around here on it in the dry. They're an absolute liability in the wet going downhill. You see, they haven't got an awful lot of grip on them. And that's why I was so glad when Innovate brought out the Bear Grip. But yeah, that's pretty much as near as you're going to get to barefoot and compromised. And then you've got this very interesting little foot condom. This is the Evo Skin from Innovate, and it's good. I mean, the nice thing about it is if you want to go out and try barefooting but you're worried about dog mess or treading on something you don't want to tread on, you just want that little bit of protection, it's fantastic. They're not too expensive. They're about 40 quid, I think. So you know, it's one of those things that's worth taking a punt on, and the fit of the toes, because it's stretchy rubber, isn't as crucial as the fit on the toes on the Vibrams. So they're well worth a look if you want to try barefooting but don't want to go the whole hog. I think, like a lot of philosophies about running and training, it's very easy to become a total zealot, and there's an awful lot of people who will say, well, if I'm going to do barefoot, I'm going to do 100% barefoot. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going back totally to how nature intended. Well, the problem with that is that it's a massive limiting factor on your running. You know, I wouldn't run barefoot over this sort of stuff. It's going to hurt. You're going to run slower, and the quality of your running is going to be less. If you want to go 100% barefoot, by all means do it, but it's a lifestyle choice. It's not about performance running. If you want to incorporate barefoot drills into your run training and then use shoes as protection and as a way to facilitate your running, that's how you're going to get the best out of it. Minimalist shoes and barefoot running is not a new thing. We've just got a new awareness of it. Think back to Zola Budd. I mean, obviously she was doing it. Think of a lot of the great African runners. You know, they've spent their entire childhood predominantly running barefoot, and that's where they get that wonderful, great running style from. Fell shoes, they're minimalist shoes. A racing flat, it's a minimalist shoe. A track spike, it's a minimalist shoe. And a lot of top runners will include will include barefoot drills in their running training. Scott Jurek, great ultra runner who's won the Western States 100 numerous times, usually warms down and does his speed work barefoot just to get that feedback drill.